Hi everyone, my name is Crystal Sands and you may know me from my blog Pajamas, Books, and Chickens, but I am also an academic turned chicken lady, and one of my goals over the next few months is to make a series of videos to help people who are interested in getting started with chickens and to do so in a really frugal and efficient way. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about what you need to get started. If you are brand new to chickens and you're not sure exactly how to get your setup going, this is going to be a video that will help you do that as frugally and efficiently as possible. Now, when it comes to chickens, it's important to think about that, of course, ultimately the coop is going to be the biggest expense. So you do have to think about coop needs in the long term. So what we will do is we will actually do another video that will talk about coops, talk about coop options. Maybe it's buying a coop, maybe it's converting a shed to a coop, but we will cover some options for that. We won't talk about that as much today because we're going to focus on really getting your brood box going. Now, the brood box is the place where the baby chicks go when they are not yet feathered and they're little balls of fluff and they're so adorable and they need a place to live in warmth. So what we do is we just use for our brood box is just a large plastic bin, and that's all you need at first is just a large plastic bin, and you can get these very cheaply, Walmart, Target, things like that. This will work just fine. You can also build brood boxes out of wood if you have scraps and you're very handy. The important thing I think to understand is really you just need a box, someplace where you can put all your supplies and put some heat. So once you have your brood box, what you also need are some kind of shavings or bedding for the bottom of the brood box. So what I have here is a big bag of pine shavings from Tractor Supply. Now this big package only costs about $6 or $7, so it's very affordable, but you can also use things like clean dried leaves to put in the bottom of your bin or brood box. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't want to use things that are flat, like paper towels. I've heard of some people use puppy pads. I think that those are a little risky because what you want to do is you want to have some texture. Try to think of like a baby chick with its mama out on the farm in nature. There's going to be grass and things like that. It's not a hard flat surface. You want to be careful to avoid something called splay leg, so that when they're babies they do need something textured to walk on. Now you might get lucky with paper towels and have no issues, but I would encourage you to get some pine shavings or use dried leaves to put in the bottom of the brood box or your bin. Now, inside the bin, you're going to put heat. Now you have options on how you get heat in there, but the baby chicks will need heat. If a baby chick was being raised by its mama, it would be able to get under the mama to be warm. But since if you are doing a group of chicks on your own and you're getting started, they have no mama to keep them warm, so it's up to you to provide that warmth. Now you can use a heat lamp. The heat lamps are very, very inexpensive. If you go with a heat lamp, you can get the heat lamp itself for about $10, and then you can get a bulb for also about $10, maybe even cheaper. The idea with the heat lamp is that it's just this big bulb that you get, and you can clamp it. Make sure that the frame you get has a clamp. You can clamp it onto a frame or directly on your brood box or bin, and then you screw in the bulb, and that bulb provides the heat. You want to make sure, however, that you get a red lamp bulb, because the chickens won't be able to sleep if it's just white light. Chickens are really cool with the light. It's kind of like magic. It's like light means awake, dark means sleep. So you want to make sure to get the red lamp so that they're not awake all the time to have their heat. Now we use something, we used to use heat lamps. We invested, because we've been doing this a lot of years, we invested in this. It's called a sweeter heater. I'm gonna hold it up. This is it. It's like a heat tray that you hang in your brood box. I like the sweeter heater because it's safer than the heat lamp, but I think that it's important to understand that it does cost a lot more money. So a sweeter heater will cost between like 100 and 130 or so bucks, depending on the size, whereas you can get a heat lamp and a bulb for 20 bucks. So if you are trying to get started as frugally as possible, do the heat lamp, but look at my face. Be really careful. You never want to touch that heat lamp. You want to make sure that you get the kind of frame that has a wire cover over the outside of the bulb so that there's no risk of touching that bulb, because it will get really hot. The sweeter heater doesn't get like hot to the touch in the same way. Now, one thing that you will also need, speaking of heat, is a temperature gauge. So you need some kind of way to gauge the temperature. And in my blog post that I have associated with getting started with baby chicks, I have a table for you that shows the temperatures that you need. But another thing that you can do is just watch the babies. If they're all huddled together under the heat, like they're really cold, then you know you need it to be warmer. And one way you can do that is if you are using a bin and too much heat is escaping out of the top in the side that's not near the heat lamp, you can put like a towel or a blanket over the top just to keep the heat in more. And then of course, if they're too hot, what you'll find is the babies will be crowded away from the heat lamp. They'll be drinking extra water. Those are signs that they're just too hot. And again, there is a guide in my blog post associated with this, so hopefully you can find that helpful. So far we have brood box, we have shavings, we have temperature gauge, and we have heat source options. The other thing you need, of course, is a feeder. Now, you can get the little plastic feeders. We have metal ones. Either one will be fine, but you do need a feeder, because if you just put the food in a plate, trust me, I learned this, they'll just poop all in the food. So then you're wasting food, and you want to be careful not to waste the food. So the feeders are great. I didn't bring up our bag of food because we get really big bags of chick starter. But what you want to use is some kind of chick starter crumble. You can get small bags at places like Walmart. Even some grocery stores will carry it. But you can also get these, of course, at farm stores, Tractor Supply, Blue Seal, things like that. You have options. You can do medicated or non-medicated. What I learned from a vet is that if you are a small operation, you probably don't need to use the medicated starter. However, if someone tells you you definitely need to use the medicated, I think that's going to be fine too. But usually, if you're a small operation and you're just doing a few chicks, you don't need the medicated. We don't use the medicated, but of course, that's up to you. You also, of course, need a plastic waterer, some kind of little waterer. You want to make sure it's one of these kinds with the rim, so that way the baby chicks can't go in and drown, and obviously that's important. You want your babies to live. And then in our water, we use these life tablets. They're called Lifelike Mega Tabs. They're just vitamins and electrolytes that provide like a little extra boost for the babies when they're getting started. And then other than that, you just need baby chicks. Now you have options too on where you can get baby chicks. There are online hatcheries. You might want to check into it if you are interested in ordering chicks online, because they ship them in boxes, but because the mail system is really overloaded right now, that may be a little riskier option. I don't know, you would definitely want to call. But you also can get, it's springtime right now, you can get baby chicks at your farm store, Tractor Supply, Blue Seal. They have chick days. You just go and get little babies. Now you want to be careful. You want to make sure that if you cannot have roosters, or if you do not want roosters, you want to make sure that you do not get a straight run. Sorry for my Great Pyrenees in the background. Life on the farm. I'm sure they will be making a voice appearance in every video that I do. But anyway, so make sure you do not get a straight run. What a straight run means is that those baby chicks have not been sexed. And so you could get a straight run of like 6 chickens and end up with like 5 or 6 roosters. So if you need hens, make sure that you are getting from the section where the hens, or where the babies have been sexed for female. Now, sometimes people make mistakes and you will buy a sexed set of babies and you'll end up with a rooster anyway, but it definitely increases your chances that you will get all females if you buy sexed chicks. So that's my advice there. Also, if you can, see if you have a chicken lady or chicken guy, it's not just chicken ladies. See if you know a chicken farmer who lives near you, who might be able to give you or sell you some baby chicks to get you started. That's a wonderful way. That way you can make sure that you are supporting local farmers, and also you can check for health and ask questions about how are these babies bred, what are your focuses when you are breeding your chicks, and so that can be helpful as well. So these are the things that you need. There's not a whole lot, and that's kind of exciting to get you started. You don't need a lot of stuff. Keep it simple. My best advice is this, and I'll probably say this over and over throughout this series, is that it's a lot simpler than you think. Chickens are really, really efficient little animals. They go a long way in taking care of themselves. Clean food, clean water every day. That's really your job. If you are doing clean food, clean water every day, you're going to see that you will avoid a lot of issues and problems, and it's going to help keep your birds happy and healthy. Now, I told myself that I would end every one of these videos with a cool chicken fact. So for my first video, I'm going to end with the fact that chickens are omnivores, just like humans. So that means that they eat both meat and veggies, and they're really great for eating scraps. And it's really cool that what they can do is they can help convert food waste into eggs, which is great. But I always find it interesting when I see the vegetarian fed chicken and eggs at the store. I'm like, ugh, poor chickens, they're not vegetarians. In fact, I've seen our chickens take down a frog or two. So anyway, so I hope you find this helpful. Please stay tuned. There's going to be more videos that I hope that are helpful to come. In fact, I have eggs right now in the incubator, and in the next video, we're going to be candling eggs. So please stay tuned. Thank you for watching.